Hello everyone, welcome back to Loonibit. My name is Looney, and this is my new Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth video that I want to talk about a very peculiar sequence that happens at the end of the game. Now, if you have not played the game, if you have not played the OG at all, I highly recommend you not watch this video if you want to avoid spoilers, because this will go into a very big spoiler of basically the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So this is your warning, and just want to make sure that you, the viewer, who are not spoiled by what happens in the game if you haven't played it. So that is your warning. So let us begin by talking about which moment at the end of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth we are going to be talking about. So, as we all know, those who have played Rebirth, who played the OG, we all know what happens to Aerith. She sadly gets killed by Sephiroth, right? But Rebirth, I should say, definitely did something very interesting. And this can even go back to something earlier in the game that I will reference in a few, that I found very fascinating. It specifically revolves around Tifa and what happens to her the moment she arrives when, Cloud is holding Aerith as she was supposedly killed by Sephiroth, right? So it's very unique, and I will go over it. I'll try to break down exactly what I see in terms of like the camera cuts, the camera movements, the zooming, and all that stuff, because it's very specific, and it's something I found very interesting, and I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are and what you think is the significance of this particular scene. So let us begin by taking a look at the scene, and we're not going to start off at technically where Sephiroth kills Aerith, but mostly the aftermath when it happens. Oh, after it happens, I should say, sorry. Okay, so we're going to start with this. The first thing I want to mention is you see the rainbow in the background? That is the live stream. When Cloud and Sephiroth's swords clashed and they were dueling to, so that Cloud could prevent Sephiroth from killing Aerith, the live stream was doing some wacky stuff. Essentially, the live stream is creating a new branch of memories and of certain memories and hope that Cloud created when he tries to save Aerith. And that's why you have that whole thing with him essentially thinking he saved Aerith, but then we see, the stab, the blood, and all that stuff. So now we move on to this. This is pretty much, a lot of people already guessed that this is pretty much what the original dialogue that Cloud says in the OG. And the live stream and his mind, Genova cells, and all that stuff is trying very hard to mask, hide, or try to prevent, those memories from coming out, simply just to, hide the pain. It's his defense mechanism against tragedy, that he doesn't want to accept the fact that, he possibly failed Aerith. It's very similar to the whole Zack situation, where he, couldn't handle the trauma of seeing Zack dead, so his mind fused with, Zack's memories from all the times Zack talked to him about, everything he's done. And essentially, he pretends to have Zack's memories throughout most of Remake and Rebirth, right? Essentially, it's the same thing that's happening. His mind and himself just cannot handle the fact that he possibly couldn't save Aerith, And again, just to make it a point clear, this is just my interpretation, right? You could disagree with exactly what's happening. I know there's still people who think there's multiple words and timeline stuff. To me, it's like I explained in the previous video, this is more of just, a different branch of the live stream being formed that essentially is still in the live stream, and it all connects back into the live stream. So it's not necessarily timelines, but just the live stream creating these branches of itself to just essentially, eventually go back to the original timeline, but it's all in the same world. It's all in the same universe because it's all just a live stream. Okay, so I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. Not this. Okay, we'll talk about this for a moment. So, for those who have played it, we know that Cloud thinks that he couldn't protect Aerith, because of the sword, and Sephiroth talking about, he sees the blood, Aerith falling, right? So it seems that there's one version that Cloud is seeing of possibly Aerith dying, but then his mind just completely decides to erase that part, and he believes that Aerith is saved, which is what this is all about.
Cloud, it's okay.
You see the live stream appearing from Aerith. That essentially, to me, means that the live stream is, that she is now part of the live stream. That's essentially live stream Aerith right now, and that's who he is seeing. It's very similar to the Revelation stuff you see in Remake when you do the Revelation chapter 14, I think, with Aerith, Tifa, and Barrett. It's essentially the same thing, but so he thinks he saved her at this point. Cloud's mind doesn't think that she died, that he actually saved her, right? That's what Cloud's mind is thinking right now, because he's trying to suppress the idea that he failed.
Aerith.
Okay, so now this is where the video I really want to talk about. The first thing we're going to see is Barrett approaching. And I want you to pay close attention to how the camera works and the direction of the next sequence that you will see. As you see Barrett and the rest of the gang, they're running up to the altar to see what has happened. And take very close and pay attention to what the camera does. See? You see Barrett first. Sorry, he's blurry because he's moving. And I paused. But we're looking at Barrett, which is signaling to you, the viewer, that we're about to see Barrett's point of view, which we then do. This is Barrett's point of view. The reason why it's Barrett's point of view is because not only of the distance that we see Cloud and Aerith, but also the camera shaking, right? The camera is shaking, all that stuff, right? Barrett is seeing this, which essentially means that he's seeing a version that possibly is the one that Cloud is, that the live stream is trying to. It looks like it's not the one with the blood, not that I could see. Let's take a look again. See if there's blood. There's blood. So essentially, Barrett himself, he is viewing the Aerith's death scene. He's viewing the memory that Aerith has died because of the blood at the bottom. Cloud holding her hand, right? You see the blood on the hand. I think that's the blood. It's either the blood or Cloud's armor or hand, right? But you see, like, there's blood on the bottom. So he's viewing this. We're looking at his point of view of what he is seeing, right? That is important, right? And then he switches over to Sephiroth. And the reason why we know it's his point of view is not only because of the camera shake, because the moment the camera switches over to Sephiroth, right? He's still running and he's reacting to Sephiroth himself. So we're looking at Barrett's point of view. Now this is going to be important because next up we're going to see Tifa's point of view, at least to my opinion and to what I see in terms of the direction that they took with this sequence. So we see Tifa, right? She's sad. I feel for her, right? She keeps losing people she cares about, her friends. She keeps losing them, right? But look specifically. I'm probably going to go in a slow motion playback speed. Look what the camera does. Right? Look what the camera does. Right? We zoom into her. We zoom into Tifa. What this essentially means is now we're going to be looking at Tifa's point of view. And Tifa's point of view is going to be very different from Barrett's. It's going to be on the same line, very similar to Cloud's point of view of the whole sequence, right? Tifa is going to see something different. As we go in, see, first we take a look at what Barrett also saw. Aerith dead, the blood, and stuff like that, right? Where Aerith essentially died and was stabbed, right? But you see, all the memories start to juggle around, right? Her vision, what she is seeing starts to juggle. Like there's one with blood and then there's one without blood. So she is seeing two different things happening. The first situation is Aerith actually being killed by Sephiroth, and the other is the same one that Cloud saw, where he believes that he saved her. Now, why would she be able to see this, right? It's very strange. And as you continue, you see it continuously go back and forth, back and forth. You see no blood. Then you see blood. right? She looks up, and it's her point of view because we're looking at from her, the distance between her and Cloud and Aerith. It's her point of view. We're not looking at it through Cloud's memories. We're not looking at it through Cloud's point of view. We're not, because of what the zooming into the eyes did. We're looking through her point of view, right? We look up. There's blood on the forearm, right? Right. Cloud is sad about Aerith's death, right? And then essentially now there's no blood. So her memory, what she is seeing, is switching back and forth to the one where Aerith is stabbed and to the one where Aerith isn't, which is what Cloud is essentially seeing and what he is believing, right? It goes back again. It does the same blood. You see the blood on Cloud's hand. You see Aerith dead, right? Her eyes are closed. Essentially, this is Aerith being dead. She is seeing this. Now she's seeing what Barrett also saw, right? And then, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it goes back to Tifa, which means it signals to you, the viewer, that you just saw, that all of that you just saw was through Tifa's point of view. The zooming into her eyes, her looking both at the Aerith being dead and the Aerith, essentially what Cloud is seeing. And then we go straight back to her face. And look at how she looks confused, like, what is happening here? Why is she seeing two different scenarios, right? She, out of all of them, Cloud is seeing one thing, Barrett is seeing another alongside everyone else, but she saw both things, both scenarios where Aerith died and the one where Cloud thinks he saved her. Why is this happening? Why are we seeing this, in Tifa's point of view? Why is Tifa seeing this as if, she's seeing two different things? It's because of what happened in Chapter 9 in Gongaga. Essentially, what happened in Gongaga is that she was, in the live stream. She has now been part of the live stream, and the live stream itself has somehow, I don't want to say Mako poisoning, but she has, Mako, or she has been absorbed by the live stream in some sort of way, where if any time the live stream does something and it's strong enough, like this scenario, this is probably possibly the strongest moment where the live stream is really doing stuff around them, she is able to see the different memories or the different visions that the other characters are seeing, such as Cloud. What Cloud is seeing, what Barrett just saw. It's specific. They specifically made you see Cloud's point of view, then Barrett's point of view, followed lastly by Tifa's point of view. Sephiroth is able to see both of these. I think Sephiroth is able to see both of them, but this doesn't really confirm it at all. But the moment when Cloud talks about, the original line from the OG and, it's blanked out, that's when he responds. That's when Sephiroth responds to him and, whatever he said. So Sephiroth can see both as well. Tifa is able to do so now as well. It's all because of what happened in Chapter 9. Chapter 9 of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is possibly one of the more important chapters of this remake project, because of what the live stream represents in this world, in this game. It's basically the blood that runs in the entire planet, and whatever happens in the planet, the main force of power is the live stream, right? And Tifa, since now she's been in the live stream, she now has, she kind of been infused or, had some sort of connection with the live stream. She's now able to at least see certain things that no other person could. And that's because of how strong the live stream is working, or how strong the live stream's force is in this particular scene. That's why we see her looking at all of this with two different point of views happening. The Cloud's point of view and the thing that everyone else is seeing. She's essentially very similar to what Sephiroth is saying, is that he's able to see both because he's also in tune with the live stream. Tifa is the same way because of what happened in Chapter 9. It's very key because of what Tifa will essentially represent in Part 3, which, if you play the original, the live stream sequence. The developers for the remake project essentially gave Tifa a much grander role in the aspect of the live stream. She's not going to be able to, at least I don't think she'll be able to do the same thing that Aerith does, in terms of using the live stream at the end of the game to stop Meteor because Holy fails. They could definitely do a lot of things with the writing for part 3, but she's not going to have that kind of power. She's not a Citra. So for those who are worrying that maybe she might overshadow Aerith, she's not going to do that. There's no point in her being able to do this if you have Aerith, who's probably going to be in the live stream if she is dead, which I believe she is in this situation. We're just looking at Cloud's point of view because of the trauma and him trying to forget the fact that he possibly couldn't save another person, like, with Zack. The same thing happened with Zack and how he tried to suppress his memories. He's trying to suppress the memories of him actually failing. Because in reality, Cloud doesn't want to fail. He wants to save the people he's very close to, But the reality is, the tragedy is that he fails in this particular part. It happens in here. It happens in the OG. But the biggest thing that they showcase, the developer showcase, is Tifa and how much the live stream stuff in Chapter 9 affected her in this particular situation. Because the live stream right now is just doing a bunch of whole wonky stuff right now with the whole thing with the clashing between Sephiroth and Cloud, the point of view of Cloud, what he's seeing, what Barrett's seeing. All of that is creating this huge flux of, like, a strong force of the live stream being present here. And that's why she's able to see it, because now she's in tune with the live stream from Chapter 9. So that is very unique. I thought that was very interesting, and I think that it's going to play a huge role in essentially part 3 with the live stream sequence. And I found it so fascinating that we are seeing Tifa looking at 2 different point of views before settling on the same point of view as Barrett. Because at the end of the day, the things that Cloud saw is his own memories, his own vision, just really being, suppressing the memory that he failed, right? So that's the reason why you don't see Tifa seeing the same thing as Cloud, but she notices that there is something going on, because they literally show this. They literally show this point of view and what she saw. And one last thing before we end this video, there is one thing that Sephiroth says that I think is very important to what I'm trying to explain and trying to say in this scenario about what is happening in terms of Tifa's point of view. And it happened right after Tifa's point of view, which I found his dialogue to be very interesting. So let's check it out.
And so it begins. A confluence of worlds and emotions.
Okay, so that is important. A confluence of world and emotions. The worlds he is referring to isn't like the multiverse, isn't like there's multiple worlds happening, different timelines. It's essentially that, as I explained before, as the live stream is branching off, those branches are creating these worlds of memories that are different to what the actual memory of the live stream is. The big, tree bark, the big branch that all those small little branches that come off go back into. The small branches are separating into smaller worlds that are filled with emotions, memories, all that stuff. And that is what Cloud, that's what exactly is happening with Cloud, is that he's creating new memories, new emotions based on what his mind is doing with all of the influence of the live stream around them. And what does confluence actually mean? It essentially means the junction of 2 rivers, especially rivers of approximately equal width, or a coming or flowing together, meeting or gathering in one point. So what's happening is that all the memories, all the worlds that we've seen in Rebirth, right? The worlds with Zack and stuff like that. Most of them, not all of them, but most of those branches are essentially moving towards one point, which is this scenario, which is this scene. So the memories of Cloud, of what Cloud is seeing, the memories of what Tifa is seeing, or like their point of view, Cloud's point of view, all of that, it's all converging back into this one spot, into this one branch. And like I explained before, as the memories are being created into these small branches, they all go back to one central point, one big branch in the full live stream. And the confluence of emotions, the confluence of memories, they all went back to the live stream. So it's interesting that he's saying that this is the moment in time, the moment where all of these emotions, all of these memories are the strongest here. And that makes sense. You see how powerful the live stream is, and that's why Tifa's able to see the two different point of views, the one of Cloud's point of view and the one that Barrett's point of view saw as well, until for some strange reason she settles on the Barrett's point of view instead of Cloud's point of view, which makes sense if we're just specifically talking about Cloud's point of view, because now she's more in tune into, the live stream, so she's able to see this. So that's what I want to talk about. That's essentially what I wanted to talk about with this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It's very unique. Please let me know in the comments what you thought. Do you agree that this was essentially Tifa's point of view and that she was seeing both the things that Cloud was seeing as well as the others were seeing? Or maybe this was just something for us, the viewers. So let me know what you think. I thought it was very interesting, and I really wanted to talk about it. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to see what happens with Tifa in the live stream in part 3, because essentially, in the OG, her and the live stream sequence is one of the most integral parts of, the final act of the game, because of what happens and how she brings the real Cloud back. So let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.